Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to dive into part 2 of a law that touches pretty much every single workplace in South Africa. It's called the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act, but you'll almost always hear it called by its acronym, COIDA. Let's switch our perspective back to the employee and walk through the journey of an injury claim step by step. From the moment of injury, the clock starts ticking. First, the employee has to report it to their boss. The employer then has 7 days to report it to the fund using a specific form. Then, the employee takes that form with them to the doctor, and the doctor files their own medical report. All these papers go to the compensation fund, and they're the ones who look at everything and decide if the claim is valid. Okay, so let's say the claim is accepted. What does that actually mean for the employee? What kind of support can you expect to get? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of what you're compensated for. So the Act makes a really important distinction between two main types of disability. If it's temporary, like say a broken arm that's going to heal, the fund will pay you 75% of your salary for the time you're booked off. But if it's a permanent, life-changing injury, the payout is calculated very differently. And here's a super important point. COIDA pays for lost earnings. It does not pay for pain and suffering. And it gets even more specific. For permanent disabilities, there's this magic number, 30%. If a doctor decides your permanent impairment is 30% or less, you get a single one-time lump sum payment. But if the impairment is more than 30%, you get something very different, a monthly pension that's paid to you for the rest of your life. Now, in the absolutely tragic event that an employee dies because of a workplace accident, the Act has provisions to take care of their family. A spouse will receive a pension for life, and children are supported with a pension until they turn 18 or even longer, up to each 25 if they're studying or for their whole life if they have a disability that stops them from working. But you know, it's not all just about the money. The modern version of this act puts a huge emphasis on the human side of things, on helping injured employees get back on their feet and, hopefully, back to work. So the law now looks at rehabilitation as this whole big picture. It's not just about fixing a broken bone or healing an injury, it's about giving someone all the support they need, medical, job-related, and social, to help them get their independence back and be a full part of life again. And we're talking about really practical, common-sense stuff here, things like reasonable accommodations, where a boss might have to provide a special adaptive computer, or work-hardening programs that help you get your work fitness back. The fund even offers bursaries to help people learn completely new skills if they can't go back to their old job. Okay, now we're getting to something really important that you need to know. This law isn't set in stone. In 2022, a major amendment act was passed and it brought in some absolute game-changing updates. And this first one, wow, this is a massive historic update. For decades and decades, domestic workers and private homes were completely left out of COIDA. The new amendment officially got rid of that exclusion. It's a huge step that brings a vital part of our workforce under the protection of the law for the very first time. And there were other big shifts too. Before, you only had 12 months to file a claim. Now, you've got a much more reasonable 3 years. The main person in charge is now a dedicated commissioner, not the director general. As we just saw, rehabilitation is now officially written into the law. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's pretty simple, really. COIDA might seem complex, but it's an absolutely essential system. For employees, it's your right to medical care and compensation. For employers, it's your protection from massive lawsuits. Knowing how it all works is just fundamental to a safe and secure workplace for everyone. And that brings us right back to the beginning, with one final question for you to think about. Whether you run a business or you work for one, take a second and honestly ask yourself, are you and is your workplace truly prepared if something goes wrong?